and we're back for 2020's book battle. Super excited. This is a bigger year, so it's gonna be a long one, so we're gonna have to get started right off the bat and go quickly. If you guys want to know more about the book battle, watch the rest of the videos in the playlist and you can understand more about it. We've got Ginger Pie with Texas Angel. Texas Angel. That is still on my favorite shelf. So we've got Stinky Sneakers Mysteries with Sword in the Stone. Sword in the Stone. Also on my favorite shelf, actually. Queen of Hearts Book 1 and Showdown. Both on my favorite shelf, actually. But I'm gonna go with Queen of Hearts because I really like that series. We've got Two Under Par and Sisters of Shadow and Light. Sisters of Shadow and Light. We have House of Salt and Sorrows and Other Stories in the Horse You Rode In On. I did not like that book, so we're gonna go with House of Salt and Sorrows. Dread Champion and Julie of the Wolves. Dread Champion, I guess. Sir Bentley and the Holbrook Court, which is book 2 in the Knights of Erith Trey, and The Afterlife of Holly Chase. Oh, Sir Bentley, definitely, actually. I did like Holly Chase, but I love the Knights of Erith Trey. Fatal Tree, which is the Bright Empire's book 5, and A Heart So Fierce and Broken. Both my favorite shelf. Fatal Tree, because I really love the Bright Empire. I love that other series too, but Bright Empire series. Anomaly and Hollowpox. I thought Hollowpox was the weakest of the trilogy. I think, is there a fourth one already into the Nevermore series? I don't know, but so I really liked Anomaly. We're gonna go with that one. Hunted by Megan Spooner and One Little Lie. Oh, I did not like One Little Lie, so Hunted. And I really liked Hunted, so I'd reread that one again. Petrified with Shadow Throne, which is book 3 of the Ascendance series, and we're gonna go with Shadow Throne. Also love that series, also on my favorite shelf. Stepsister with Light Princess. Light Princess is George MacDonald, and we're gonna go with Light Princess. Last pick, which is graphic novel with Princess and Curdie. Princess and Curdie is also George MacDonald, and so we're gonna go with that one. A Wrinkle in Time and White Umbrella. A Wrinkle in Time. White Umbrella was not very good. Beneath Copper Falls and Safik. Safik. I think I like Beneath Copper Falls like pretty well, but I really like the Incarceron and Safik duology. Siren Song and Topside. Topside is a graphic novel, but we're gonna go with Siren Song. Cobalt Prince, which is book 2 in the 5 Worlds series, graphic novel series, and Light of the Last, which is book 3 in the Wars of the Realm series, and I did not care for that series, and I do love the 5 Worlds series, so we're gonna go with that one. Stitchhead book 1 with Fortunately the Milk. Oh, these are both very cute middle grade books. I'm gonna go with Fortunately the Milk. Warcross and Drive-By Warcross. 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle and Artemis Fowl book 1, also both on my favorite shelf, but we know it's gonna be Evelyn Hardcastle. If I Run and Safely Home. If I Run. If I'm Found and You're Not Okay and That's Enough. You're Not Enough and That's Okay. Okay. I really like both of these, actually. I highly recommend You're Not Enough and That's Okay by Ali Bestucky, I think. You'll see it here on the screen. Christian nonfiction. But I think I'm gonna go with If I'm Found. Cheshire Crossing, graphic novel, and Double Minds. Well, I think I gave them both 3 stars on Goodreads. They're both very different. I don't know what to say. I guess I will go with Double Minds. Lady Carless and the Waters of Maru, which is book 4 in the Knights of Erith Trey, versus Flowers for Algernon. I did like Flowers for Algernon, but I'm going to go with the Knights of Erith Trey. We've got Estranged, which is another graphic novel, and Truth Stained Lies. which is another Terry Blackstock, I think. So I think we're gonna go with Terry Blackstock. Princess and the Goblin, my favorite, versus Nevermore, both on my favorite shelf again. I thought Nevermore would make it farther, but because it's pitched against Princess and the Goblin, Princess and the Goblin takes it. We've got Wondersmith, which is book 2 after Nevermore, and Catching Christmas. Definitely Wondersmith. Catching Christmas was just meh for me. War Girls and Shadowlamp, which is book 4 in the Bright Empire series, and we're gonna go with that one. Tidewater Inn, which is Colleen Coble, and Truth About Us, which is Brant Hansen. I love Brant Hansen. He writes Christian nonfiction. He is one of my favorite Christian nonfiction authors. This is his weakest book that I've read, I feel like, but because I love him so much, I'm gonna have to go with that. War of the Cards, which is book 3, and Hatchet, which is another. It's a few decades old already, but it's a good middle grade. But I'm gonna go with War of the Cards because I like that series. The Reader versus Hickoty. I didn't mind The Reader, but I mean I did like The Reader, let's say. But the illustrations for Hickoty are just stunning. Cry of the Raven, Morgan L. Bussey, versus Water Babies. Oh, I love the Water Babies, but Cry of the Raven. The Testament, John Grisham, versus Rise of the Fallen, which is book 2 in that series by Chuck Black that I didn't care of. Rise of the Fallen. I just said it. I can't remember what it's called now. I really didn't care for that series. So we're gonna go with The Testament. We've got From the Heart of Africa and Cloak of the Light, which is book 1 of that series. We're gonna go with From the Heart of Africa. Strands of Truth versus Runaway King. Runaway King. That's book 2 in the Ascendant series. Sanity and Tallulah versus Fake Blood. Oh, these were 2 very, very random graphic novels that I grabbed from the library one time. And we're gonna go with Sanity and Tallulah. The Promises She Keeps. Did not like that book, so let's see what it's paired against. Wild Oats and Overcoats, you guys. I don't like either of these. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Wild Oats and Overcoats because it's a poetry collection. So there might be something you can like about it, whereas I did not like that other one. Red Maze, which is book 3 of the 5 Worlds, and Food Fight, which is another graphic novel, which I do recommend for like, I don't know, I just think it was quite educational the way that it was presented, but we're gonna go with the 5 Worlds. What do we got? Piercing the Darkness, all on my favorite shelf, and Stuff Christians Like, which is a Christian nonfiction that I do like, but Piercing the Darkness takes that one. A Curse Dark and Lonely versus Sir Quinlan and the Swords of Valor, which is book 5 of Knights of Eritrea. I do love them both. They're both on my favorite shelf. I really like. Why? See, it's one of these like pairings that they're not like the toppity top of the books that I love, but they're pretty high up and they kind of are even. They're very different, but they're kind of even in my head about like how much I love them. One is secular, one is Christian. So for that reason, we're gonna give it to Sir Quinlan for the Knights of Eritrea. Romanov and the Shoemaker's Wife. Romanov on my favorite shelf. The next one is False Prince, which is book 1 of the Ascendant series, and Amber Morn. False Prince. It's on my favorite shelf. We have Sand Warrior, which is book 1 of the 5 Worlds, and The Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus. I'm gonna go with Sand Warrior. And just because one makes it down there or doesn't make it up here, it doesn't mean I didn't like it. It just means I liked the other one a little better. Robin Hood and The Last Holiday Concert. I didn't care for this iteration of Robin Hood, so I might have to try some other authors writing Robin Hood. So we're gonna go with The Last Holiday Concert because I kind of like that one. That was kind of cute. Whispers in the Reading Room and Blood of Wonderland, which was book 2 in the Queen of Hearts trilogy. So we're gonna go with that one. I think all 3 of them from the Queen of Hearts trilogy made it up there. Backyard Bandit Mystery versus It's Not Supposed to Be This Way. We're gonna go with It's Not Supposed to Be This Way. I think that's my first Christian nonfiction up there. Death on the Nile, which is Agatha Christie, and A Long Walk to Water. Death on the Nile. I mean, I'm a little swayed because I like the movie, but Wild Robot Escapes, which is the second book after The Wild Robot, versus Animal Farm. I'm gonna go with Animal Farm. Nightlights, which is another book in that Hecate series, and Incarceron. We're gonna go with Incarceron. Forgotten God by Francis Chan and Sir Kendrick and the Castle of Belleon. We're gonna go with Sir Kendrick. That was the first book that I read in that Knights of Eritrea series, and I was hooked. The Bone House, which is book 2 of the Bright Empire series, and Portrait of Emily Price, The Bone House. I really need to reread the Bright Empires. House, which is Ted Decker and Frankie Peretti, and Pippi in the South Seas. House. Assassin's Quest, which is Robin Hobb, and Runaway Princess, which is a graphic novel. We're gonna go with Assassin's Quest. It is on my favorite shelf. Light on Hogback Hill probably won't win against Before Amen. Yeah, I guess I'll give it to Before Amen. It wasn't like revolutionary or anything, but The Case for Christ and Dry. Ooh, I love both of these. Highly recommend Dry, but I'm gonna go with The Case for Christ. Lily the Thief and Sketchy Behavior. Sketchy Behavior. That was one of the first books since I started getting back into reading that I actually read with my eyeballs. That was in first person. Thanks to Lindsay for that. Sleep Tight Book and Guinevere Deception. I don't really care for either of these, but we're gonna do a Sleep Tight Book because I have issues with the other one. Saint, Ted Decker, and Around the World in 80 Days. We're gonna go with Around the World in 80 Days. Saint is part of a series from Ted Decker, and that was the one I didn't like out of the series. Pink Bonnet, didn't like it. Versus Devil in the White City. Devil in the White City was better than that one. Fable, which was really, really hyped when it first came out. And Peter Pan. Oh, I do not like Peter Pan. So I guess we're gonna go with Fable. Didn't think that one would make it up there. Seagrass Pier versus Neon Soul Poetry and Prose. I think I was mediocre on both of these. Let me just have a quick look-see. Okay, Neon Soul got 2 stars, and Seagrass Pier got 2 stars. I guess because the poetry book has, like, it's poetry. I'll give it to the poetry book. Brizinger, which is the book that comes after Aragon, or is it the 3rd book that comes after Aragon? I think it might be the 3rd one. And Hockey Spirit, which is a graphic novel. Both of these are meh to me. Also, this year had a lot more meh reads, like 2 stars and 3 stars. I wouldn't reread either of them. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a reason why I would pick one over the other, and we'll go with Hockey Spirit because I love professional hockey. So, Christmas Guest and No One to Trust. No One to Trust. I do like the Christmas Guest. That was good too, but Skin Map, which is book 1 of the Bright Empires, and Fool's Errand. No! They're both on my favorite shelf. Bright Empires book 1 and one of the books in the realm of the Elderling. I don't fully stand by this choice, but we're gonna go with Skin Map. We'll see. I have to reread what I've read from the Elderling series because I couldn't finish it last time, the series. So I need to start over, reread the ones I've already read, and then continue. Crazy Love by Francis Chan and Blue Castle. I did not like Blue Castle. I don't understand why you guys all love Blue Castle, but Crazy Love it is. And Island of the Blue Dolphins versus Siren's Fury. We're gonna go with Island of the Blue Dolphins. We have Gabby and Gator graphic novel versus Seconds to Live. Seconds to Live. I think that was the first one. Aragon and The Girl from the Other Side, book 7. The Girl from the Other Side. There's nothing wrong with Aragon. I didn't find anything special about it. Predator and Skin. I like both of these. Both Christian thriller, but I'm gonna go with Skin. Face on the Milk Carton versus Arcade. Oh, I liked both of these. Arcade was really clever, a clever graphic novel. The way that they played with different arcade games and like that the arcade characters were trying to get out of the arcade game system. And the Face on the Milk Carton. Like, which one would I reread again? I mean, I'd probably reread both of them again. I might go with Arcade. That one's surprising. Golden Glow. I love the illustrations of this picture book. And If I Live. I'm gonna have to go with If I Live. Like, Golden Glow is so beautiful, but because it's a picture book versus like a full chapter book suspense, I have to go with the If I Live. Storm Siren versus Synapse. Dune versus Cracks in the Sidewalk. Oh, I like both of these, but we're gonna go with Dune actually. The Toll, which is book 3 in the Arc of a Scythe trilogy, and this is the one I did not like, versus Muddy Max, which is a graphic novel that's just sort of meh to me. So, I mean, I did not like The Toll, so I'm gonna go with Muddy Max. Captive Kingdom, which is book 4 of the Ascendant series, versus Eldest, which is the second book after Aragon. There we go. Gonna go with Captive Kingdom because I like that series. And the last two for round 1 is Hidden versus Spirit Well, which is book 3 in the Bright Empires. So definitely gonna go with the Bright Empires. Ready for round 2? Okay. Runaway King, which is book 2 of Ascendants, versus Sleep Tight Book. Okay, Runaway King. Good. Hopefully we can get rid of some of the books that I was like meh about. Blood of Wonderland, book 2, and Shadow Throne, book 3. There we go. Now we've got some more difficult choices. Shadow Throne, actually. The Testament versus Princess and Curdie. Well, Princess and Curdie, obviously. Hecate versus Sisters of Shadow and Light. Sisters of Shadow and Light. I do love the illustrations for Hecate, but Piercing the Darkness versus War of the Cards. Piercing the Darkness, I guess. The Girl from the Other Side, book 7, and Dread Champion. The Girl from the Other Side. The Sir Kendrick and the Castle of Bellion, and Incarceron. Oh boy. Sir Kendrick. Yikes, you guys. Queen of Hearts versus 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. I already let the other 2 books from the Queen of Hearts trilogy already go in my head, thinking, well, I'm gonna save the first one because I really like the series, but it's up against Evelyn Hardcastle, so I have to let it go. So that's it for the Queen of Hearts trilogy. It's too bad. Shadowlamp, which is book 4, and Sir Bentley and Holbrook Court. You guys, ugh. I'm gonna go with Shadowlamp. Assassin's Quest versus Animal Farm. Assassin's Quest. Then we have False Prince, book 1, and Siren Song. False Prince. Got Case for Christ versus The Light Princess. Case for Christ. Got Hunted and House. Oh, that's interesting. We're gonna go with House. Only because I can't really remember Hunted. I remember I liked it, but I can't really remember it right now, so I need to reread it. Devil in the White City, and If I'm Found. If I'm Found. Seconds to Live versus Captive Kingdom. Captive Kingdom. Sanity and Tallulah, and Fortunately the Milk. Fortunately the Milk. Texas Angel versus House of Salt and Sorrows. Texas Angel. Fatal Tree book 5 and Spirit Well book 3, both from the Bright Empires. Okay. Probably Spirit Well. Fable versus Wondersmith. Wondersmith. Red Maze, which is book 3 of the 5 Worlds, and Warcross. 5 Worlds. Princess and the Goblin versus Skin Map. Oh. Yikes. Princess and the Goblin. That one hurts. I love the Skin Map. Death on the Nile versus Hockey Spirit. Death on the Nile, I guess. No One to Trust versus Lady Carless and the Waters of Meru. We're gonna go with Lady Carless. A Wrinkle in Time versus Around the World in 80 Days. 80 Days. Island of the Blue Dolphins versus Synapse. A Synapse. Cobalt Prince, which is book 2 in the 5 Worlds, and Romanov. We'll go with Romanov. Truth About Us versus Sword in the Stone. Sword in the Stone. It's Not Supposed to Be This Way versus Cry of the Raven. Cry of the Raven, obviously. Truth Stained Lies versus Sketchy Behavior. I'm gonna double check because I think I liked Truth Stained Lies. Turns out I gave them both 3 stars. So, Truth Stained Lies, I guess. Double Minds versus The Sand Warrior book 1, which we're gonna go with 5 Worlds. Crazy Love and The Last Holiday. Crazy Love. If I Live and Neon Soul. If I Live. Before Amen and Wild Oats and Overcoats. Before Amen. Arcade versus Dune. Dune. Skin versus Safik. Safik. Oh, really? I don't know. From the Heart of Africa and If I Run. If I Run. Sir Quinlan and the Swords of Valor and Anomaly. Sir Quinlan. And I would definitely recommend the audiobook, but be prepared for the Knights of Eritrea that it is a full cast theatrical recording. So there's sounds and music, and it can be very distracting at first, but if you can get over that and really immerse yourself in it, then it's good. Muddy Max and the Bonehouse book 2. Bonehouse. Ready for round 3? Before Amen and The Girl from the Other Side, book 7. So we're gonna go with Girl from the Other Side. Bonehouse versus Captive Kingdom, which is book 4 of the Ascendant series. Bonehouse. Around the World in 80 Days and Sir Kendrick and the Castle of Bellion. And we're gonna go with the Knights of Eritrea on that one. Spirit Well versus A Case for Christ. Spirit Well. I really like The Case for Christ. I don't know. False Prince and Runaway King. So this is book 1 and 2 of the Ascendant series. So book 1. There was a bit of a glitch in my filming, so I hope I've got this organized in my head. I might have had a double or something, but Princess and Curdy and Safik. Princess and Curdy. Sword in the Stone versus Piercing the Darkness. Piercing the Darkness. If I'm Found versus Romanov. Probably Romanov. 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle versus Shadow Lamp. 7 Deaths. Texas Angel versus House. Texas Angel. The Red Maze, which is book 3 from the 5 Worlds, and Dune. Dune. Sisters of Shadow and Light versus Fortunately the Milk. Probably Fortunately the Milk, actually. If I Live versus Lady Carless and the Waters of Meru. Lady Carless. And I think that was it. So, next round. Are you ready? Let's do it. Sir Kendrick and the Castle of Bellion versus Fortunately the Milk. Sir Kendrick. Assassin's Quest versus Princess and Curdy. Assassin's Quest. Shadow Throne, book 3, and Evelyn Hardcastle. Romanov versus Cry of the Raven. Cry of the Raven. Piercing the Darkness versus Spirit Well. Spirit Well. The Girl from the Other Side, book 7, and Bonehouse. Bonehouse. False Prince versus Lady Carless and the Waters of Meru. We're gonna go with False Prince. Synapse versus Crazy Love. Synapse. Dune versus Texas Angel. Oh, super different books. like classic sci-fi tome versus Christian historical hard-hitting. Like, I could reread both of them right now. I have reread Texas Angel before, and I've never reread Dune, so might have to go with Texas Angel because it has longevity in my favorites. Sir Kendrick and Belleone. Oh, Evelyn Hardcastle. Evelyn Hardcastle beat out Sir Kendrick. Bone House, book 2 in the series, and Assassin's Quest. I might go with Assassin's Quest, you guys. False Prince and Princess and the Goblin. Oh, I don't like this round. It's too hard. Princess and the Goblin. Cry of the Raven and Spiritwell. Cry of the Raven. And the last duo is Synapse versus Texas Angel. Texas Angel. If we were to duel again, I would have 3. So we should duel again. Okay, so this is actually the last round, okay? Jokes for the last time because this is the final round. 7 Deaths versus Texas Angel. 7 Deaths. Assassin's Quest versus Cry of the Raven. Cry of the Raven. And Princess and the Goblin is left. Okay. The top 3 for 2020 are Cry of the Raven, 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and The Princess and the Goblin. I'm pretty happy with those 3 being the top 3, actually. Pretty satisfied. If I wanted to, which I don't, but if I wanted to, I could add Assassin's Quest and Texas Angel to make it a top 5. But you know what? I'm happy with this top 3. I think it is pretty accurate for me. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Watch the rest in the playlist that I'm putting together here, and I hope you have a lovely day.